Hello, everybody. All the students are like saying hi and hello, so energetic today. That's great. Hi, Mr. Sham, and today we have Sweat and Roy supporting us. Okay, so the very important first question is: do you have today's materials? We sent out two blast messages, so they should have arrived in your email inbox for you to download the materials. If not, our colleague Roy has attached the link to download the materials. Okay, and if you are a Mind Stretcher P5 or 6 student, you would have received the hard copy, the printed workshop materials. Okay, so you just have to bring that out. Hello, Mr. Sham. A lot of them took, I think they did recently a weighted assessment in school, SBC or oral exam, and they've been sharing with us how they did. So students, share with us, okay, if recently you did an SBC or reading aloud test in school and you scored a certain mark, doesn't matter what it is, just share it with us, okay? Wow, full marks! If you have not, it's okay. You can share the good news with us next time, okay? Let me share my screen with everybody.
Since there's just the both of us, why don't they type everything in the chat rather than some
Yes.
in Q&A and some in chat?
That will be helpful. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so that Mr. Sham and I can focus on the chat instead of toggling, okay, Q&A and chat. Okay. Wow, they are very energetic today. It makes me, it invigorates me as well. Started today, last week, a lot of students asked us SBC. What's SBC? SBC is stimulus-based conversation. So it's a stimulus. A stimulus is something. So the previous batches of PSLE students, their stimulus was like a poster, a visual text. For you and the batch last year, it's a photograph. So that's the stimulus, okay? The plural of stimulus is stimuli, okay? So stimulus based. So based on that photo, you're going to have a conversation. I would say a more one-sided conversation because you're assessed for it, okay? But of course, you can what they are going to look at is your fluency, your confidence, your ability to elaborate. Okay, and there is this quote here on our cover page. Is screen sharing on? Yes, it is. Can everybody see my screen? Yes, right. Yes, it is. It is? Yes, okay. Prepare what to say and how to say it. So we don't prepare only on that day. That's why you're here, right? So when we prepare for SBC especially, later on we are going to look at the common topics that come out. We are going to look at the peer structure, the kind of questions you can anticipate. So all this will be the preparation starting from now if you have not started. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sham. Yeah, very normal to feel nervous. Every time before a workshop, I'm also very nervous, but it's more of an excitement, okay? It's adrenaline rush because I'm so excited to see all of you. So it's normal. It's normal to feel nervous and excited because you know it's important, right? Because you care. If you don't care, you won't feel nervous. But because you care, it's important to you. That's why there is some sense of nervousness. It's normal and okay. As long as we arm ourselves with some strategies, okay? It's like when the warriors go to war, right? They will arm themselves with weapons. They feel more confident. They don't just run into the battlefield empty-handed, okay? So we don't want to run into a battlefield empty-handed. We have our strategies with us. Okay, so just an overview. This is a summary of all the SBC topics that came out last 10 years. Okay, and if you just take a quick glance and say, hey, these topics are really familiar to a typical primary school student, right? Storytelling, family day, library, technology, pets, recycling, science center. All these are very familiar topics. Okay, last year in 2025, as you can see here, it's a new syllabus. So they asked questions based on the photograph. Have all of you looked at your 3-year series? Do you know the prompts that came out for both photographs? Mr. Sham definitely has seen it. The rest of them, some they have not. Okay, so last year, let me just give you an idea, right? Off the cuff. So queuing for ice cream, the first question. So in the new syllabus, usually it's the first question that looks a bit more different compared to the previous syllabus. Okay, so in last year for the queuing up for ice cream, I don't know if you have gone to Orchard Road. Okay, outside Takashimaya, there is an ice cream cart. The uncle is always there, rain or shine. He's there selling ice cream, right? And in that photograph given to the students, it's a long queue, and the ground is a bit wet. So it was raining, and people despite the wet weather was still queuing up for ice cream. Okay, not yochi, not so modern, old school ice cream, traditional ice cream. Now, the first question was, do you think this is a good place to sell ice cream? Do you think this is a good place to sell ice cream? So they're not asking you what is happening in the photo. They're not asking you that. They're not asking you to describe the photo. They want your opinion. Like you look at this picture and you say, is this a good place for this uncle to sell ice cream? For this ice cream seller to set up his store? Yes or no? And whatever you say, whether you say yes or no, as long as you can provide reasonable reasons and explanations, you're fine. Okay? Okay? So the questions now require your opinion as well. We're not interested in what you can describe in the picture, like what you did in primary 1 or 2. We want to know what do you think as a young person, okay, as a 12-year-old. Okay, so some commonly tested themes. Okay, we just summarized everything. These are the 7 commonly tested themes. Themes 1, 4, and 7. So we look at school life, very common. All of you go to school, okay? And health, all of you have PE lessons, you have CCA, there is a park nearby, you see people jogging along the road, you know? This is very common, right? 7, technology and modern life. I mean, this is a hot topic, right? No phones in schools now, right? Your parents make sure they put in restrictions on the number of hours you spend on your device, etc. So this is very common. But we cannot forget that other topics are also common, okay? So this is just piece of information to share with you. Okay. So knowing all these, the next thing you need to know is
Actually, to add,
yeah.
right? To add,
Yes.
can you go back to the list of topics?
Yeah.
All of you have done compositions as well.
Yes.
The one that you showed at the bottom of this page.
Mm.
Have we not done comprehension and
Yes.
composition topics on these showing kindness, showing sportsmanship? Recently we had a mid-year exam. It was about, I think there was a passage about gaming addiction, right?
Yes.
Releasing
Yes.
animals back to the wild. Now, all these actually should give you an idea on what to reflect. Okay, so we are all humans. The emotions we go through are the same. So all these themes, some of them were saying they're so going to fail. Don't feel that way, because ultimately you just have to come up with a reasonable answer, explain it instead of not saying anything, and you will be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shang. So let's take a look at the next page. This page is very important. So in school, your schools may use various versions of the rubric. Okay, what we have here is based on what the examination board has or uses. So in school, the teachers might simplify the rubric to help you understand better. They might use emojis instead of words. So whatever form it is, they are basing their marks on a rubric. Okay, not based on whether you are neat that day or whether they like you or not, or whether you said something that they like or not like. No, everything is based on the rubric. So students, please don't ask us what if the examiner has a very grumpy face. No, it doesn't matter, okay? It's not in the rubric. A rubric is a piece of document which you use to assess whatever. So there are composition rubrics, there are situational writing rubrics, etc.
Actually, the
So
more they
yeah.
say that, if you feel that the examiner is grouchy or sulky, can anyone tell us why the teachers may seem a little bit tired? Because they have many students to test. So it
Ah.
is not a matter, it's not personal. So the more you need
Mm.
to enliven your conversation with examples, smile, put in the energy. Like last week, we advised you on
Mm.
having energy in your reading.
Yes.
The same thing, if you're very pleasant, they have a great time conversing and listening to you. They are willing to give you high marks. So if you're going to shy away and say, oh, this teacher, I think she's called Mavis, she looks so grumpy, so I might as well not say anything, then you are punishing yourself. No one is taking marks away from you. The marks are all there for you to grab. So there are 25 marks. If you see on the screen, many of you have already gotten full marks before. Anything is possible so long as you try.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Shah. I wrote this, Mr. Shah, because somebody just asked in the chat, must I use flamboyant vocabulary to excel? It's flamboyant. It must be appropriate. If you use a word that you believe is really a really big word, but you used it wrongly, it confuses the listener, right? Can you imagine if your friend just uses big words when chit-chatting with you? You're going to get a headache in 30 seconds,
It's
correct?
the same as compo. If you use big words and you use wrongly, you will
Yeah,
score worse than someone who is straight to the point and
yeah,
doesn't make a single mistake.
yes,
Yeah. So it's
exactly.
here wide range of appropriate vocabulary. It doesn't say fancy or very difficult vocabulary. Maybe we give them an example right on the spot. Can you all of you write this down? Many of them, if let's try this on you, Mavis. What do you like
Yeah.
to do on weekends? What is a typical vague answer?
Uh, Rest.
So what do you mean by rest? You sleep,
I
you take a nap, or you daydream?
I will just laze around at home.
That's very good, isn't it? Can you hear? Instead of just saying, I rest, you could say, like a sloth, I would
Mm.
rest on a couch all day, staring at the ceiling, doom scrolling, or sometimes I simply laze the entire day away, doing nothing at all. Now, these are appropriate vocabulary. So, rest, lazing, sloth, doom scrolling, staring at the ceiling, it is better than just a single word. So that's what we mean by wide range of appropriate vocabulary. So if we're talking about revision, it can be I study. Can anyone, all of you, type into the chat, what do you mean by study? What are things related to your PSLE now? Practice papers, your 4 subjects, those are 4 sets of vocabulary words: revision, Hindi, composition, very good. Bury yourself in books, parents nagging at you in the background, relearn topics, very good, assessment papers, well done. So don't panic. There are things that you know that you already do. Okay? So nobody's asking you for high vocabulary. Just relevant will do. Look, I think
Just
they got it.
relevant vocabulary.
Yes, the chat is
Yes.
very lively now with very specific things. And if you want to be even more specific, instead of saying, I revise all my subjects, how about you add in a clause, particularly my weak subjects? Then the clue is next sentence. For instance, I am not always consistent in my English marks. So I know I need to write more compositions, do more vocabulary close passages, and also work on scoring for stimulus-based conversation. All these are very relevant vocabulary.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sham. This is something Mr. Sham always emphasizes as well to provide specific details, not only because they are, again, specific vocabulary, but it gives the listener a more a detailed picture, like they can picture exactly what you're saying, okay? And therefore, they become more engaged because when you can paint a picture in your mind naturally, you can imagine and more engaged in a conversation, right? Okay, I'm just going to answer this question because this person, Kevin asked, do we need eye contact for SBC? Well, when you have a conversation with somebody, do you look at the floor? Unless you're getting scolded. But do you look on the floor? Do you look at the sky? You look at the person, right? You might not be looking at the person's You might not be staring into the soul of the person through the person's eyes, but you might be looking somewhere, okay, somewhere on his or her face, and you're facing him or her. So you're not looking away. So of course, you need to make eye contact. Then the person will feel like, wow, you're having a conversation with me. You're trying to tell me something important, correct? And all of you want to be looked at. So when you want to tell your parents something and they are looking at their phones, do you like it? No, right? You say, hey, I'm talking to you, please look at me. No? There you have it. Right? If your parents want to talk to you and you're looking at your phone, they'll say, hey, I'm talking to you, look at me. Right? So yes, we want to make eye contact. It's polite and it engages the listener. Reading aloud, no eye contact. But for SPC, yes, please do make eye contact, okay?
So the next question is, whom do they look at? Can
Oh,
any of you answer this in the chat? There are two examiners. Who do you look at?
mm,
Do you go
mm,
left and right like this? Or do you just be very natural? Just look between the two people.
yeah.
So when you
So
talk to your both parents, who do you talk to? Some of you chat with a whole group of friends. Whom do you look at? That would be the answer. Definitely not ceiling and not at your fingers. Okay? Mm.
yeah, so there are two examiners, they'll be facing you, okay, and then you just look at either of them at a point, just natural. Don't have to plan it and rehearse it. Just natural, okay? Just be natural. Don't have to overthink that. There are many other things for you to think about. Okay, wow, the chat is very active. Let me see. My teacher said don't make eye contact. Hannah, then what do you look at during a conversation if you don't make eye contact? Okay. Yeah, there are two examiners. It is good that there are two examiners. Some of you say, why two? So stressful. No, there are two. It's better because both of them are going to, based on the rubric, give you a grade. And then they will have to discuss and decide on what grade to give you. So if one examiner happens to be, they shouldn't be, happens to be very strict, too strict, then the other examiner can have a chat with him or her and say, let's take a look at the rubric, let's discuss, and it will help you. So think of it positively. It actually helps the whole thing to be fairer for you. Okay, so both of them are there to give you marks. Give you marks. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this rubric. Personal responses are well developed. Today, we are going to look at the peer structure. If you use the peer structure properly, it will be well developed. Okay, you thought about the question. Your answers are detailed. You don't just give one word or one sentence answers. You elaborate. Later on, we'll show you elaborate with what. And it's thoroughly explored. You didn't just answer the question. You sometimes extend the conversation. You share perhaps a reflection. Okay, and very often, I remember Mr. Sham will always share this, right? We reflect about values, we reflect about lessons learned.
Yes, all the
Okay,
composition things.
yeah, yes,
You realize
exactly.
what you learn. And again, the important thing is don't suddenly go quiet and say, yeah. That's all. They like to do that. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
worse, no, yeah. You know, they go all German, then they
yes,
don't say a thing. Yeah is not an English word, in case many of you
yes,
don't realize.
yes. So when you share an experience, and I want to just share this. Some students, when we say experience, they just randomly share an experience that has very little to do with what they shared in point and explanation. Your experience is not for the sake of filling in the peer structure. The experience is meant to support your points. You have good points, but how to show the examiner that your point is true? It is true. You're going to share an experience because you have gone through it before. So you use the experience to show and further support your point. Okay, not just something random. And of course, reflection. So when you do these and you use peers, you will end up somewhere in the top band, right? But when we don't do enough, let's compare the first and second band, okay? The top band, the fifth band, and the fourth band. Gives personal responses with some development. So yes, you explain, you say because, and then you give a sentence, maybe you share one example, and then you get stuck, perhaps. that's when you may be prompted by the examiner. Okay? They'll ask you some guiding questions so that they can hear more. But every time they do ask you, you do give them a proper response. So this is what this last descriptor means. When they do prompt you, you are able to respond. Okay? Largely appropriate. That means most of your structures are mostly grammatical. Most of the time, vocabulary is used correctly, and they can understand what you're saying. So the pronunciation is clear. So how to move from band 2 to band 1? Because some students are here in band 2. Do these things, which we are going to show you later on, the peer structure. Okay, then you realize that, hey, it's not difficult to move from 18 or 19 to 21 or 22. It's not. It's entirely possible just by using the strategies, okay? If the examiner prompts you, does it mean that you're not doing it? Not necessarily. I've been an examiner before. So when I hear a candidate say something interesting and I'm so engaged in that conversation, I might just ask a question because I just want to hear a bit more. I'm curious because I'm enjoying the conversation. So instead of thinking, examiner asked me a question, is that good or bad? Instead of thinking that, just tell yourself whatever the examiner asks you, just answer. Answer and elaborate. That's all you can do, and that's all within your control. Okay? So don't think about that. Do you list in points? What do you mean list in points, Nivanshi? You mean speak like in bullet points? You must speak in complete sentences. You see, structures, what are structures? Structures are sentences. So, okay, let me write this down. Okay, grammatical and complete sentences. Yeah?
I think this is a reminder. This is an English exam.
Mm.
It is the same thing, Mavis, when they ask you, must we write properly for informal letters or for situational writing? The answer is yes. This is
Yes.
an English exam. You cannot be talking in bullet points. Even in comprehension, you don't answer in bulleted points, right? You need to write full sentence. So please don't try to do shortcuts. It is not going to work because here it says range of structures, which means a variety of sentences. Do you always start your sentence with I feel, and you can only use and. You can't show that you are using connectors like while, whereas, although, upon reaching school, I saw this, no sooner had I, blah, 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 then something happened. All these are what you call they indicate a very strong speaker who is fluent in English. That is the
Mm,
objective of this. Like a
mm,
game, you have to hit the rubrics. So again, I always say this, for situational writing, compo and oral, you notice the criterion is the same. Appropriate structures, accuracy, and varied. Yeah,
mm.
that's about it always.
Thank you, Mrs. Shang. There are two questions that came in. I said I'll answer it. So Russell asked, how do you end your response instead of just saying okay or yes? You end your response by summarizing, giving a summary line. Later, I will show you, okay, in our practice later. And somebody asked, let me see this person. How long should a normal conversation be? Okay, let's just be realistic. The amount of time the examiners will spend with you is about 10 to 15 minutes. Your reading aloud will take about 3 minutes, okay, 2 to 3 minutes. And then we are left with some time, right? So every response, every question, every response will take about 2 plus minutes. It is not a 5 minute speech, okay? About 2 plus minutes, 2 plus minutes, you can say quite a lot. If you do the P.E.E.R.S, it'll be great, okay? So the models we share with you at Mind Stretcher and so on, they also take about 2 plus minutes to complete. Okay? Let's see. What other questions at this point? Yeah, yes, because they have so many students to test. Okay. Mm. Oral topics, they won't give oral topics that are very dark. That means about death, no. Um, Of course, in your sharing, let's say they talk about pets, and let's say you had a goldfish that died. You can talk about it as part of your experience, but they will not ask you a question. Have you had a pet that died? No, they won't. Okay, they won't. It's too dark. Okay, let me carry on. And Mr. Shah, if you see anything that's like a burning question, you can address it. You can address it too. Okay, so rubric done. Eye contact. These are the two things they're assessing you. AO means assessment objective. Last week we looked at reading aloud. There were assessment objective 1. So today, assessment objectives 2 and 3. Are you engaging the listener with clear, thoughtful opinions? Do you speak fluently, pronounce words clearly, use good grammar and vocab? So all these things are already built in the descriptors in the rubric. Okay. How will you share experiences? Later, I'll give you all the tips. Be patient. This document contains very important details. So if you are looking at it for the first time, don't worry, I'll take you through it, okay? This is P.E.E.R.S. So if you're a Mind Stretcher student, English student, this is not new to you. But if you are doing other subjects at Mind Stretcher or you are not a Mind Stretcher student, this is what we use. Other schools have their own frameworks. Oreo and all that, okay? Trees and peel. Yeah. We are aware.
Actually, they should see the similarity. Do you see similar letterings, whether it's Oreo or trees? Do you see two O's, two E's? What do they stand for? Explain an example. Isn't it? So regardless of what has been shared with you, what your teachers are trying to tell you is, do not say, I don't know how to answer. Just bravely go through the whole thing and you will be fine. Okay, regardless of which method you take to.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm not going to belabor too much here because we want to see the application, but I have to go through this so that you get some context, okay? P is point. That means you answer the question. So if they ask you, will you be interested to take part in this activity? You do not talk about anything else. You answer the question first. Yes, I'll be interested to take part in this activity. Speak in a complete sentence. Do not say yeah, full stop. Okay? So speak in a complete sentence. Yes, no, agree, disagree. There are many ways to do this. Okay? Answer the question. Point. The second one is explain. So sometimes we explain best with examples. So we combine these two. You could share the examples to support your point, or you could use reasons. So give clear reasons. And usually under explanations, we give 2 to 3 reasons plus examples. Okay? 1, too few. 4, too many. Remember, each prompt is about 2 minutes plus. 1 is too few, 4 is too many, 2 to 3. And they must be reasons. This is I think students should not wear school uniform because that's too abstract. Let me see. Students should sleep early because it helps them stay more awake in school. Then you stop there, you smile. What do you mean? If a student sleeps early, he or she will be blah blah blah. If he sleeps late, this is what is going to happen. So you share your reasons and then you give an example. For example, my friend who sleeps at 2 a.m. every day sleeps in class all the time and he does badly in his tests or exams. Okay? Share examples. Experience. It's a personal story. Mr. Sham, I remember Mr. Sham will often give us extra tips here as well. Personal story, and we have heard it so many times from Mr. Sham. Our students, when they come to experience, sometimes they just list. In the morning, we did this, then after that, we did this, and then we did this, then at the end of the day, we were all very tired, but very happy. So it becomes like a report. We don't want a report. We want something that highlights a particular moment. Okay, so over here, under experience, provide us with the details. Your 5W and 1H. You use in composition writing, also use it here. Okay.
Yes. All the good phrases and all that. So if experience is needed, you can share your own anecdotes, meaning your own experience, or can all of you tell us if you don't have this experience, what should you do?
Mm.
Should you A, bluff and come up with something outrageous? Or should you frankly say you have never had experience, but you would love to try something new or pick up a new skill? There are many ways to get at it. So one of the boys, I think Karthik said, what if I don't understand the question and I've got nothing to say? So here, learn the methods. It cannot be nothing to say. So
Mm.
Mavis, just ask me something. I'll try
Mm.
negative answer.
Mrs. Sham, do you think students should have access to handphones 24 hours a day?
All of you, what do you want me to say? Yes or no? Which is harder?
They
24
say
hours
yes,
a day.
no.
Okay, alarm bells are ringing as a mother already.
They say
Yes,
yes.
okay, so I'll try. Okay, I'll try. But the thing is, you have to show maturity. So this
Ah,
is why the R comes in. Can you type there? That's it. I hope all of you are writing on your paper as well. Sometimes when you reflect, you can have a however, on the other hand, or that's it. Okay, so let me try. Can you ask your question again?
do you think children should have access to handphones 24 hours a day?
Okay, so parents who are listening in, I'm answering as an 11-year-old would. Okay, so Mavis, you want a top band or top band answer, right?
Yes, best shot.
Okay, okay, yes. Certainly, certainly, I
Mm,
feel that all children deserve to have their handphones to themselves every single day for every single hour. I find
mm,
that it is very cruel to confiscate phones and to keep phones away because they are there for very special purposes. So you see, I'm going
mm,
to explain already.
mm,
Handphones are important because we need them to keep in touch with our parents, teachers, as well as friends. For example, I'm often stuck at doing mathematics, or sometimes I cannot solve a synthesis and transformation answer. And when I look at the clock, it is about 11 p.m. If I were to leave my homework till tomorrow, I would get scolded by my teacher. So in this case, handphones are very important because all I need to do is to WhatsApp teacher Mavis or some of my friends, and they would quickly send a reply to help me solve the maths or English problem. Secondly, I think adults should trust all children to take good care of their phones and also to use handphones very responsibly. But that's it. I've got many friends who overspend time on the handphones. They're either doom scrolling or they're simply just watching Italian brain rot memes for hours on end, sometimes laughing at nothing quite in particular. I find these actions are quite dangerous because they do not contribute to learning. But still, I feel all of us deserve a chance to have our phones with us all the time. And I hope parents and adults will trust us to do very well with that.
oh, very brilliant. They were all chatting. I said, guys, you need to listen to what Mr. Sham is doing. It's brilliant. Okay. You see, it's not whether I agree with her or
Yes,
not.
it's,
That
it's,
one
it's
student.
not whether you say something that
Mm,
agrees, as long as you don't use rude language. I
yes.
didn't use bad words. I'm just saying I
Mm,
hope adults can trust us, trust
mm,
children with their handphones. And I gave examples when I need handphone desperately. And I also gave examples of classmates who don't use it reasonably. Or if you have experience being scolded for irresponsible use or overusing to game, you can also share that. So
mm,
nobody's going to say wrong example,
yes.
right? I'm not a
Yes.
child, but I would have answered it this way.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you all noticed Mrs. Shah when she spoke. She spoke at a steady pace. She didn't rush. She was thinking as she was speaking. And what because of her pace, I can digest what she's saying if she's not rushing. So there are many things you can model after. The key thing is that for every point she listed firstly, secondly, that's it. So it's a very structured way of answering. Okay. And that there was a student who asked me, so I just typed it out here. Can we make up stories? Okay. Firstly, there is nowhere in the rubric that says you cannot make up stories. But if you make something up and they ask a guiding question and you cannot answer it or you get stuck or it sounds fake, then this
Yes.
conversation is no longer engaging, right? Can you imagine if you ask somebody something and they are not truthful to you? Will you feel engaged? So the key is if you want to make up something, yes, make sure it's believable, fluent, confident, and you don't sabotage yourself. Okay? So it must be realistic. If it's unrealistic, then it's definitely a lie, a tall tale. Do you like it when people tell lies to you? No, right?
They asked, when is it unrealistic? Okay, I had one case, I think a few years ago during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think we did a question on bullying. Have you ever witnessed or been bullied before? So all of you here,
Mm,
whether you believe this. So this boy said, yes, I've been bullied before many times. And he sounded so earnest, I almost fell for it until he said, just last week, I was at a coffee shop in Bishan. So I was just innocently eating with my friends. And then two boys out of nowhere came and punched me in the face and pushed me onto the floor. And he started kicking at me. Okay, all of you, is this believable? Coffee shop in Bishan. Okay, never mind, you don't stay in Bishan. You're in your school uniform. Two persons came and did this to you. And the best part was he went on and on. Nobody helped me. And I fell to the ground. And in the end, my friend had to accompany me home. And then I told my parents about it. Yeah, so this was what happened.
so
I think in Singapore, if this were to happen, there will be people taking videos, people calling for the police. You know how you write your compo for these things, right? People will whip out their phones to call the police already. And
mm,
to be punched up like that, you're 12 years old. Not quite believable. So this
yeah.
is when we say it is unrealistic. Or
Mm,
if you get a question on Mavis, if they ask about, say, cooking, if you've
mm,
never cooked before, can you don't
mm,
pretend to cook? Because if you give the wrong timing or you say the wrong ingredient or the ingredients sound like they're not in the correct proportion,
mm,
it would be very, very glaring. Like you say, oh,
mm,
I remember putting 3 tablespoons of salt into the soup and then followed by just throwing meat in there. So I tossed in everything. At the end of the day, I had very delicious curry. I don't think you put salt
yes.
in curry that way.
Mm,
Then that would be totally, I think, going to backfire.
mm, yes. So I think whether you're making something up or not, a response that you have something to say and something that sounds sincere, authentic, and usually these stories or these experiences, we prepare them before the day of the oral exam, You start doing it now, okay? So if you have time now, why not go recall if there are relevant experiences instead of focusing on whether I can make up stories or not. Okay? So I think we can do that. Okay, S is the summary. So just now a student asked, how do you end off? There are a few ways to end off. Let me see. Is it yeah. So we can end off by using some lines like if everyone, all in all, overall. Let me give you a few, okay? So all in all, to sum up, in conclusion, okay? So these are a few common ones to just signal to the listener, I've completed whatever I want to say for this question. Okay? So that's something you can use. Yeah, 1 to 5 to 2 minutes, 2.5 is the max. Okay? So when we look at our models, it's about 200 words, around there, about 2 minutes. In a nutshell, these are not cliche. Cliche is an idea. An idea could be cliche. These are just linking phrases. These are just linking phrases. Okay? So nothing to do with cliche or not. Okay. This is an important page, okay? It's not colored when you print it, but over here, it's important because when you receive the photograph, you want to get an idea of what might they ask? What might they ask me? Right? If you know the kind of questions that come out for prompt 1, prompt A, prompt B, prompt C, then you can feel more prepared and confident. Okay? And you can do this exercise with any photograph you see in the newspaper. When you see a photograph, just ask yourself, if I'm an oral examiner, what are the 3 questions I'll ask? After you ask those questions, you practice. Okay, so you can do self-practice. Like, let's take a look at the first prompt. Just like I told you, the first prompt is a direct link to the stimulus, to the photo. They will not ask you what is happening in the photo. Okay, so this is very, they will not ask you what is happening here. Okay, unless, so this is actually something an examiner might ask if the student is super stuck. They cannot even respond to the question. So the examiner might try to ease you into the conversation. They might then say, okay, what do you think is happening here? Then they'll ask you more guiding questions for students who are stuck. This will usually not be the first prompt. This might be a guiding question the examiner asks. Okay, so what kind of questions they'll ask? How do you think the people are feeling? And you look at the sentence stem, it's always how do you think? What do you think? Is this good? Is this bad? This is last year's prompt. Why do you think this was also last year's prompt? Why do you think people eat here? Would you enjoy? Would you like to take part? Do you think all children should take part in this? Please do not spam the chat, okay? Because it will push everyone's comments away. Okay, so just relevant questions and responses. So you realize they are all opinion based, okay? We really want to know what you think. So for this prompt, Mr. Sham also assessed a whole bunch of, not bunch, I will say group of P6s, me too, recently in our mid-year checkpoint. And something I noticed, I'm not sure if Mr. Sham experienced this, is when they answer the prompt 1 question, okay, would you be interested in this activity? And this is what they do. Say, yes, I'll be interested in this activity because I love animals. The last time I interacted with animals was at the zoo. Then they went on, and then they finished their response. Then I asked them, do you talk about the picture at all? Did you refer to the picture at all? And then they go, oh, no. So please, when you answer prompt 1, they say, look at the photo. Would you like to participate in this? You should describe specific details of the photo. Say, yes, I would love to participate in this activity. In this photograph, I see the woman and girl enjoying themselves, and I too would like to experience the same thing. So what you do is we do a weaving, okay? A photo detail observation plus why you plus your opinion. Then you do this repeatedly for about 3 times because you notice about 3 things like that. So photo detail yourself, photo detail yourself, photo detail yourself, like that. Okay, I see that they are surrounded by more than 10 rabbits, and I've never experienced something like that in my life. Just thinking about it makes me feel excited. So yes, I want to be surrounded by more than 10 rabbits, and I would love to feed them like what the 2 people in the photograph are doing. So remember, don't ignore the photograph. Okay, answer the question first, yes. Then go back to details in the photograph. Okay, this is very important because once you have said all the things you want to say, the examiner might move on because they have heard enough. You may have gone slightly off course, but they want to move on to the second prompt. That may be possible. So don't let that happen. Okay, you be in control and you take initiative to link the picture to your opinion. Okay, then if you want to share a similar experience, can you do it after that? Do it after that and say, oh, I too, I have never fed more than 10 rabbits at the same time, but my grandmother has 10 hamsters in a house, and every time when I visit, I would feed them one by one. Okay, so that's a similar personal experience. Then you can share what you learned or what you realized from my experience. And like in the picture, I realized that surrounding ourselves with animals makes us really happy. It lowers our stress levels, and we get to interact with nature in a way. Okay, so this is what you learned or realized. And then you end. Overall, this photograph highlights how enjoyable it is to feed animals, and I would love to be part of something like that. Okay, so this picture one. Now, picture prompt 2 and 3, compared to the old syllabus, they are very similar. They are both related to the photo, but they are not about the photo. So you don't need to talk about the photo anymore. Prompt 2 is usually related to a personal experience or preference. So they might ask you, what do you like? Okay, this is a very typical. What do you like? Or tell me about a time, a place. Will you be willing to? Do you prefer? And you'll realize that all these questions have something in common. They are all about you. Okay, they are all about you. So this is a great opportunity to talk about yourself. And I would say questions like that, especially personal experience questions. Let me personal experience. Oh,
It
occasions.
can also be something they observe of others. Like, for example, there are people who are allergic to pet fur or animal fur. But you can say, even though I've not carried rabbits before, I envy all my friends who can, because I always end up wheezing very badly and breaking out in rash if I come into contact with animals like hamsters, guinea pigs, and rabbits.
Yes. Yes. I'm highlighting these things because I notice students don't do it enough, right? When you share personal experience, you just give me a summary. I don't want a summary. I want all the juicy details. The
Yes.
most juicy detail and what you felt about it. And most juicy could be scariest, funniest, happiest, most unbelievable. Okay? It must be a big deal. That's why you still remember it to this day. So yes, the experience has an opening, middle, and end, but there must be this highlight that we want to hear. Okay? That brings out what they're asking about the question. So when you say place of interest, of course you talk about the most interesting thing about this place of interest, right? Will you be willing to join a long queue is a preference question? Okay? So if it's a story question, a personal experience question, it's like a mini composition. A mini composition. Okay, there could be a problem you had to solve, and then there's a highlight, there's a climax. Okay. In the reflection for this, you can say, whenever I recall this, I feel, or if am given a second chance, I would do this instead. Okay, then you can talk about the impact of this experience. All in all, when I think about this experience, it reminds me to blah, blah, blah. So that's all okay. All right, that's prompt 2, preference or personal experience. The last prompt is now broader. So it's not just about yourself. It could be society, people in general, your family. It could be about an issue in society, like say our waste, recycling, nature. Okay? So also your opinion. Why do you think we should eat? So who is this we? We means everybody. Everybody, adults, elderly, children. Okay? They might also zoom in for you depending. What are some activities you think elderly will enjoy doing? And you realize that very often in the third question, they will say, what are some? How can we? How can we? Okay, these are what we call suggestion questions. So how many suggestions do you give? 2 to 3. Some students, Mr. Sham, some students I assess, they try to squeeze out 3, but the third one is a bit awkward already. So I say 2 is okay. Just explain properly and
I
give
usually
examples.
share this. There are 3 ways to look at it.
Mm,
If you really want 3 suggestions, remember
yes.
these layers. home,
Okay.
school,
Yes.
community, or government. Can you,
Mm.
all of you, remember this? Anytime you cannot think of what to say, then you think, what can parents and siblings do at home to help you become a better person, to help encourage
Mm.
saving water? What
Yes.
kind of things can schools come up with? That's it. Don't just say, we should have assemblies on this topic. What topic is it? What? So if it's, for example, saving water or something to do with the environment, you can say, I hope our school teachers can bring us to farms to visit, or farms with little animals, so that we can learn how to handle animals and also appreciate things that are found in nature, such as simple plants and vegetables. Okay? Or the community centers could also organize sporting activities so that neighbors and people who have just migrated to Singapore can have a chance to mingle with local people and have fun together. So can all of you write this down? Because if you don't write it down, you're going to go back to typing in the chat the next time we have a revision webinar. I don't know how to suggest or expand my ideas. Okay, so these are the 3 ways. Memorize it, because it is impossible for you to think up a lot of things on the spot. But these are tools you can use. Okay, you have parents, you have teachers, you have the government or community centers always there to roll out relevant programs, to encourage values, or to help promote certain skills and sports. Is there a way to remember this? I'm not too sure. You have to remember it. There's no
Practice
shortcut
and
to
apply.
remembering.
Practice.
Yes, practice.
Practice.
So the next time your teacher asks you a question, okay, all of you, can you close your eyes now? What are the 3 ways? What did Mrs. Sham just say? What if I ask you, what are the ways to encourage children to read? Firstly, at home, what can parents do to encourage you to read? There are lots of books surrounding you, isn't it? Or to bring you to the library every week to borrow books, or to read to you at bedtime. In school, which CCA or place in the school that is, which CCA teacher is in best position to do it? Library teacher. What about community? What about the community library? Should there be reading campaign? Should there be famous authors sitting in the library reading their books to you? Okay, then you try another one. What are the ways to encourage children to eat more healthily? At home, parents should buy more snacks. Is it? In school, what could teachers organize as part of enrichment? What can PE teachers also do? Then what can the community club organize for families? Is it cooking workshops or on TV? Should there be, what do you call those campaign advertisements telling you what to avoid and what to cut down on? Okay, so there are many of these questions you can practice based on the topics we've given you in the booklet. You just keep asking yourself, what are the ways to do this? What are the ways to do that? What are the ways to encourage children to love learning? Then you find that after a while, it becomes very natural to explain yourself and to give examples.
Yes.
Okay, so
Thank you,
I
Mr.
have
Sham.
to
Yes.
go off for a while and later I'll
Yes.
be back. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sham. Okay, so there are a few questions in the chat. Let me just address them. What if you can't understand a picture? They won't give you a picture that you cannot understand. That cannot happen because this is a national exam, right? So it must be something that all students can understand. Okay, so that's first. The second one, for prompt C, can the answer to the question depends on the situation? Let's say you have been asked a question and you know that it really depends. Then you let the examiner know, I agree, but I think it depends on certain factors. And you just share what are the conditions. Depends on what you can share. Okay? So yes, it depends on the question. You know, we in June, I'm not sure if you already know what's RC Residence Committee, okay? In June, we have our June holiday program, and within it, there's the oral workshops, and we are coming up with a SBC book. It's a very good book. It's going to help you. So when all these are available, please keep yourselves in the loop. Okay, follow us on Telegram, on our social media. We will really support you, and we'll be running more workshops before your oral exams. But on your side, every day you need to practice. So how do you remember all this? You have to sit down, have a prompt in front of you, and practice saying it. And every time you say something, you just check it off your list. It's like P.E.E.R.S, right? P-E-E-R-S. When you say P, you can keep one finger, okay? And then you just track yourself. Okay? We cannot just read or think about it. We have to speak. We have to speak. Okay, you can talk to your mirror or your pet. It's okay, as long as you hear yourself speaking. Peers, trees are all okay. All right. So this is an important page because it gives you an idea of how to anticipate questions. Now that you know these are the types of questions that come out. Okay, quick do's and don'ts before we move on to our practice. Mr. Sham has Today, we are also conducting a summary writing workshop for our secondary students. Mr. Sham is also a secondary teacher. Me too, but I have to be here. So Mr. Sham has gone there to support Mr. Stephen Sim. Okay, you'll see Mr. Sim in secondary school. So let's take a look at these do's and don'ts. Okay, knowing is one thing, of course, you need to apply them. Sometimes when there's a picture, I don't really know what to say. You talk about the people, the expressions, very obvious, right? When you look at the picture, straight away you know, oh, the people are happy, not happy. What are they doing? 5W1H, Javier. 5W1H. Where are they? What are they doing? How are they feeling? Why do you think they're there? Okay, Javier. Okay, do this anticipate questions. So we have given you the kinds of questions. Now you can go and practice that. Later on, we're going to practice it. Okay, you go and anticipate some questions for me. Don't rush. You listen carefully. Okay, so a student asked me, teacher, how much time do I have to think? If today somebody asks you, how are you today? You look tired. How long are you going to take to respond to that question? It's around the same time as when you respond to a conversation question. You think about it. I had quite a long day. I'm feeling quite tired, So you do take a bit of time, a few seconds to think about it. Specific details, a lot of students don't do this. So before they know it, they have nothing else to say. Talk about these things, okay? People, actions, feelings. Students always forget. Don't give one-word answers. Maintain eye contact. This is what we want you to do. Well, only in prompt one do you take glances at the photograph, right? You glance at the photograph. By prompt 2 or 3, you are not looking at the photo anymore. You're looking at the examiners, okay? If you really didn't hear or understand. If you didn't hear, you could ask them to, could you please repeat the question? If you don't really understand, but usually this doesn't happen. The questions are phrased in a way that's easy to understand. Okay, but let's say it happens. You don't really understand. You could ask the examiner politely, could you please rephrase the question? Okay, then that's it. But you don't keep asking it, okay? Just once, and then answer the question. Organize your thoughts briefly. Okay, so you say, okay, yeah, I have 2 ideas. I'm going to share the first one first. So this is my first idea. Okay, so I have a brief structure. Personal experience, depth and fluency, stay calm and confident. This one takes practice. The more you practice, the less nervous you are. Okay, if you cannot hear, you can say, please repeat. If you heard it, but you don't understand it, you shouldn't say repeat, right? Because even if the examiner were to repeat it, you'll still not understand. Am I right? So you could say rephrase. Okay, you may try to do that to buy time, but uh you can't do it all the time for every question, correct? Because it becomes very unnatural. So only use it if you really need to. With all the practice you are getting, I think you wouldn't have to even ask that question. Okay? All right. We are going to share the models for today's practices within the next few days, latest by the end of the week on Telegram. And we are going to blast it on our event site. So if you have already if you have already registered for tonight's event, you'll receive the email with the link to download the models. We didn't provide the models because students will tend to repeat what the models say. So I want you all to practice. Okay, practice. So just now we talked about anticipating questions and looking at the photo. Some students say, what if I look at the photo and I don't know what to say? Okay, now you tell me, when you look at this photograph, what do you notice? And I want you to use a pen, if you have the hard copy, to use a pen or pencil and draw arrows, right? Do you notice? Do you notice about these two people? Do you think it's their relationship? Mother-daughter? Okay. Where is this place? What does this place look like? What does this place look like? A zoo? A nature reserve? A rescue center? I was a rescue center. Sanctuary? A sanctuary? Okay. National Park, Elephant Park, yeah, Safari, yeah. Okay, all these are great. So when we look at a photo, we cannot say, I don't know what to say. Don't worry. The question will come later. When you have the photo, just ask yourself, what do I see? What do I see? I see a sanctuary, I see elephants. That's the only animal featured here. Okay. An elephant park. Somebody said there, why not? We don't have that in Singapore, but it could be somewhere else in the world. And what is happening here? What do you see here? So after you look at the big things like where is this place? What do I see? I see elephants. What else do you notice? Like, hey, what's happening here? Why is there a basket here? And then you want to say, what's her expression? These are things you want to take note of, right? So some of you are very good. Say, oh, this feeding, the girl is happy. Can you see the girl's face? You can see the woman's face. You can't see the girl's face, but can you guess how the girl is feeling? Yes, you can infer. So this is a feeding session. Okay, this is an empty basket. So they have like finished feeding the elephant. Okay. Okay, the food basket is empty. They must have fed. What do you think was inside? Bananas, apples. Okay, fruit that elephants like. Perhaps there were bananas or apples in there before that. Okay. And she's of course looking happy. They are happy, having a great time. Okay, annotate, everybody. Happy, enjoying, etc. That's about it. When you look at a picture, you look at the people, what are they doing? How do they look on their face or their body language? That's all. And then you can anticipate some questions. Photo is quite blurry. Usually the photo cannot be blurry. In PSLE, your photo is A4 size. A4 size. Quite big. Okay, one page. So now, I know we have given you 3 questions, but let's take 2 minutes. I want you to anticipate prompts 1, 2, and 3. Possible questions for prompts 1, 2, and 3 based on this photo. If you are the examiner, what kind of questions will you set that's aligned with what I shared with you here? And I want you to practice this because you cannot say, oh, my teacher says, okay, anticipate. Never mind, I'm not going to participate. I want you to try it now. Type something in the chat. Give it your best shot. What are some questions you will set? Because if you can do that, then you can test yourself. Then you can anticipate questions in the exam. Okay? A skill is learned by doing, not by imagining. So give me some questions. If I see good ones, I'm going to type them out here. Okay, let's take 2 minutes to do that. What do you like about the zoo? Oh, what do you like about the zoo? Might be a prompt 2 kind of question. Have you ever fed an animal? Tell me about it. Possible? Prompt 2. Do you think it's happening? They won't say what do you think is happening. They might ask how do you think the people in the photo are feeling? Very good. Okay, I'm going to just type out some questions. Okay, some questions that are not here already. So possible, Oops. You can take these down. Possible prompts. Um, that's a prompt one sort of question, right? What else? Okay. Would you enjoy this activity? Is that my... It's very linked to my prompt. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat it. Mm, okay, those who ask this question, what do you think is happening in the picture? This is not very likely to come up because it's too literal. Okay? Okay, would you enjoy, okay, I'm going to start that. Would you enjoy this activity? Why or why not? Okay, possible, yes. Would you like to do something like that? Yes. Yes, good. Uh, do you think elephants are fit to live in better conditions? Well, that's very specific. So they won't ask something so specific, but they might ask something related to animals and nature. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to move on to the type of prompt two questions. Um, Let me see. Prompt two type of questions. Okay, I'm going to put across here. These are questions that are likely not to come out. Okay, what do you think they are doing? Uh, what is happening? All these are not likely. They are too literal. These may be guiding questions when a student is stuck. They may be guiding questions when a student is stuck, but not likely the main prompt. Okay. Ashton says, "Would you like to feed an elephant? Why or why? Yeah. Would you like to feed an elephant? Why or why not? That's fine. Okay. Second prompts. Um, have you visited a zoo? Have you visited a zoo? Have you interacted with animals? Okay. Do you like animals? Why or why not? Yes. Very good. So you understand. If you're asking the right question, you understand. Have you ever fed an animal before? Tell me more about it. I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to set the question. Have you ever fed an animal before? It's very likely that when you're sharing your experience here, you would have talked about feeding an animal, correct? Okay, so I won't set that as the main second question, but I'll use the word interacted or visited. I think these are broader. More students can answer. Oh, mm, some students are moving on to the third prompt. Do you think it's important to save animals? Wow, that's a very tough question for PSLE. But they may ask, what are some ways to care for animals? What are some ways to care for animals? Possible. Will they ask you, do you have any pets? Maybe, but this is a wild animal, so they might not ask about pets. What are some ways to care for animals? How can we protect nature? Okay, broader questions. Do you prefer indoor or outdoor activities? A bit too broad for this picture. Today, the examples you are seeing, there's a variety because I want to have more opportunity to hear what you want to say. Okay, like this second one, it's memorable outing. Somewhat linked, but it's a broader question. Okay, how can we protect wildlife? How can we protect nature? How can we protect wildlife? Right? We don't litter, we don't step on plants, we don't destroy, vandalize. Hmm. Why are animals important? Why is it important to protect nature? Possible. This is more challenging. What can we do to care for animals? What can we do? Yes, okay. So some examples you have shared with me. Can we encourage students to appreciate nature? Yes. How can your school encourage students to appreciate nature? So they can ask about school, they can ask about home, they can ask about community. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, what was the most prompt three? Usually they want to ask you what was the most memorable time. That is a prompt two kind of question because it's a personal experience question. Okay, how to prevent animal abuse? Not likely, too specific. Too specific. They will use words like care. How to care? Hmm. Okay, thank you. You have very good ideas. So once you can brainstorm, you can start to test yourself. Okay, let's take a look at our prompts. And this is where I'm going to invite students to speak. So again, my powerful colleagues Roy and Sweaty will get to unmute students. These are just sentence stems. I provided it because the students here today, we have a variety. Some are more confident speakers, some need more guidance. So we just provide some sentence stems for you to get you started. Okay, to get you started, to help you feel more confident. So who's the first person? Let's unmute somebody. Oh, I haven't finished writing. Oh, okay, okay. These are just some examples your friends gave, okay? Okay, who is me, me, me? You just raise your virtual hand and then Mr. Roy will unmute one of you, okay? For those of you who tried reading aloud last week, you can give others a chance as well. Okay? Do we have somebody already? You didn't try. Okay, Gerald, is it? Hi, Gerald.
Hi, hey,
Gerald. Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me clearly?
yes,
Okay, Gerald. Gerald, which school are you from?
King Ching School.
And have you done any oral exam or test recently?
No, but it's going to
Oh, when? When is it going to happen?
next week. Next
Okay,
week,
very good. So I hope you apply what you have learned. So Gerald, how do you usually do for SBC upon 25?
22 to 25.
Oh, that's a very good score. Let's see how you do today. Uh, I'm going to share some feedback with you. Okay, and for the rest of us who are listening, let's think about how we would respond as well. And let's listen to Gerald, okay, and see if he has done some things really well, or if there is some room for improvement, we can very kindly share our feedback. Okay, only I can see all your comments, so you can share them in the chat politely. Okay? All right, Gerald. So this is the photograph. We all looked at it. We need some annotations. The prompt A is this. Would you like to take part in the activity shown in the photograph? Why or why not?
Yes, I would love to take part in the activity shown in the photograph. Firstly, I think going to the zoo or even just being in touch with animals is something that I want to do more because I love animals and I really look forward to touching them and feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I also can relate to this photograph because I have a pet hamster in my house and I like to play with it. Well, I only had only one chance to visit the zoo in my life. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to visit it more often after my PSLE. Because I get to look at the new animals or the animals that they just brought in, like the pandas from China or some other animals that I would like to see in real life, not on the TV screen.
Mm.
I remember back when I was P3, my school took me to the zoo for a learning journey. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as we reached the zoo, I felt very happy as I've never came to this place before.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see a lot of different types of animals like monkeys, giraffes, lions, tigers, and even the pandas.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to go back to the zoo more often because we didn't have enough time to explore the whole entire place and get out our hands on activities. This experience taught me that spending time with animals can boost our mood and let us understand more about nature. I believe that if more people do this, uh, there will be no more cases of animal abuse or hunting or even animal trafficking. Or, in a nutshell, I think activities like this one shown in the photograph are good, are great because they get to spread awareness of how gentle animals can be and allows us to appreciate animals more in depth. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. Very brave first speaker. And Gerald just elaborated, right? Just elaborated with relevant experiences. And he answered the question. Now, one thing I'd like you to do, Gerald. Okay, so you elaborated. I didn't have to prompt you further. You took initiative to extend the topic. Now, before you extend the topic, Gerald, there is something I need you to do. I need you, especially for the first prompt, to make reference more to the photograph. Okay? Because what you did was, yes, I would like to take part because I love animals and I love to feed animals. That's fine because in the picture they are feeding animals. Now, I need you to just take note, make more references to the photo. Okay, so for example, yes, I would love to take part in this activity because I love animals. Like the woman and girl in the photograph, I'm sure they love animals too because they are seen here feeding an elephant. Okay, so after that, you can say, I too would like to feed an elephant because I've only had one opportunity to go to the zoo and I only saw the elephant from afar. So if I could get up close and personal with an elephant, like what's happening here in the photo, I will do the same. Do you understand, Gerald? So your elaboration is fine, but I'd like you to remember to make more links to the photograph so that you can truly say, I'm relating to what's happening in the photo.
Understand.
Okay, Gerald? Understand. Very good. Okay. Anyway, we are going to provide the model, so no problem. Anyway, models are just one example. Okay, something for you to study and consider. Anyone who wants to say, I would not like to take part in this activity. If you are someone who would not like to take part in this activity, I want to hear your response as well. So I think Roy, we might have to unmute someone who 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 can we see who does not want to take part in this activity? Can we unmute Wen-Si? Yeah. Wen-Si say me, I do not like. Okay. So you can say you don't want to. Then what's your reason? Okay. Hi, Wen-Si. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Wen-Si. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So Wen-Si, which school
Yes.
are you from and how have you been doing for SBC?
I'm from Princess Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get about 22
Mm-hmm. 22 for SBC. Okay,
for ST.
that's also in the top band. All right, Wen-Si. So we heard Gerald, he loves animals. He would love to go to the zoo to do what the lady and the girl are doing. But you say you don't like. Okay, so I want to hear we want to hear variety, right? So Wen-Si, would you like to take part in the activity shown in the photograph? Why or why not?
I would not like to take part in this activity shown in the photograph. Although the
Mm-hmm.
people in the picture look like they're having a good time feeding the animals, in my opinion, feeding animals is stressful for me, as I do not know whether the animal will attack me while I'm feeding it. I also feel that animals can be a bit smelly and dirty, and so will the food. For example, there was a time where I was brought to a zoo to feed turtles in a turtle enclosure. But when I was sprinkling the food into the turtle enclosure, the turtles jumped up and bit my hand, and the food also left a smell on my hand. In a nutshell, I would not like to take part in the activity shown in the photograph.
Okay, thank you, Wenxi. So Wenxi did answer the question. She talked about how it's very stressful for her to feed animals, and she spoke about an interesting experience of being bitten by a turtle, and then it left also a very smelly stench on her fingers or her hands. Okay, Wenxi, I want you to try to do this. Just now, you didn't make a lot of reference to the photograph. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll to try again. After you say, no, I do not want to take part in this activity, can you try to provide details about the photo and then weaving in your personal preference and opinions?
Okay.
Okay, let's try again. So I'm gonna ask you the prompt again, okay? Wenxi, would you like to take part in the activity show shown in the photograph? Why or why not?
No, I would not like to take part in the activity shown in the photograph. Although the people in the picture look like they're having a good time feeding the elephant and the food basket is also empty, in my opinion, feeding animals can be stressful due to an incident that happened to me.
Ah, okay. Then that's all you plan to say, right, Wenxi?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you and everybody some ideas, okay? You see, in this picture, there's a barrier, right? Correct not? There's a wooden fence. It's quite low, am I right? Do you notice it? It's quite low. So elephants are really strong and huge animals. To link to your point of being scared, because they're after all wild animals, you could see that in this photograph, I see that the wooden fence or barrier is rather low. If the elephant were to go berserk and attack the girl and the woman in the picture, they might get injured. And I do not want that to happen to me. Do you understand, Wenxi? Do you see what I was doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we can do that as well. Okay? Or you could say, look at how the elephant is grabbing the food from the girl's hand. What if the elephant decides to drag the girl further towards it? That's quite dangerous, isn't it? I do not want that to happen to me as well. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So then we have really looked at the photo and really put ourselves in the shoes of the people in the photo. Okay? It's like last year when they asked about the ice cream and they say, do you think this is a great place to set up an ice cream store? If you were the ice cream seller, yes, it's a great place. It's outside a famous shopping mall. It's in Orchard Road. Of course, it's a great spot. Okay, so you must put yourself in the shoes of the people in the photograph and speak as if you are there. Okay. Thank you, Wenxi and Gerald, for responding to this prompt one. Okay. This is something that I think there's still room for improvement for everybody, but I'm very glad both students did make it a point to extend the conversation by linking it to their own experiences. Okay. And sharing with us a reflection. Now, what about this second question? This is an experience question. Now, this is not really linked to nature, but I've put it here because I want to have a greater variety of questions today, okay? So I want to talk about maybe family, because after all, this is mother and daughter. They are doing something together. So I thought it's a good chance for me to hear your ideas about family, okay? Let's unmute the next person. You don't want to participate. You don't want. If you don't want to participate, it's okay. Okay. Jacinda, is it Jacinda? Jacinda, the next one, yes. We'll try our best. There's so many of you here today. Okay, we try our best.
Hello.
Hello, Jacinda. Jacinda, where are you from and how do you usually do for SVC?
I'm from Mito, and usually for SPC I get 24 and then close to full marks.
24 close to full marks. So let's hear your response to this. Okay, use the P.E.E.R.S structure. Are you a Mind Stretcher student, Jacinda?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not new to you.
No, but
Use the
I only
P.E.R.S.
attend math.
Okay, so this is new to you. Good. If you have been doing rather well, then I think you have been using the right strategies. So let's hear from you. Jacinda, what was the most memorable outing you have had with your family? Tell me about it.
The most memorable outing I had in my family is when my family and I went to a animal zoo in Malaysia. Inside the zoo, there were many kinds of animals such as rabbits, dogs, and cats. There were also a lot of elephants at the back. The elephants were kept in an enclosure, and you get to feed them with sugar canes. I love the dogs there because the dogs were very friendly and we could even feed them. I remember the dogs went to me and made my pants dirty. Next, I went to feed the elephant and bought some sugarcane and bananas. The elephant sucked out their task, the nose whatever, and wanted me to feed them the sugar canes. When I put them in my hand, the elephant took them and the and it felt very soft and warm. The elephant then put it in their mouth and asked for more. I remember seeing a adult elephant and a small elephant fighting for food, as the mother elephant wouldn't let the baby elephant eat. So I stretched out my hand as long as I can and fed the baby elephant. In conclusion, the most memorable outing was that as I learned that it was very fun to feed the elephants, as you may also find something unforgettable.
Thank you, Jacinda. Jacinda, how are you feeling?
I keep on stuttering.
You're so adorable. There are some students in the chat who say, oh, she can slow down, she can relax a bit more. Okay, because you were speaking quite quickly. It could be excitement. I'm not sure. That's why I asked you, how are you feeling? Are you excited?
I was a bit nervous just now.
Nervous? Okay. So it's normal. It's normal. So if once we are aware that, that's why I say recording yourself is really useful. When you record yourself, you can hear all these things. So Jacinda, you were quite fast. So you can slow down because when you slow down, then you can think and speak at the same time, right? You can frame your thoughts, you can find the right words, okay? And you won't panic. So this is what happens. The faster we speak, the more anxious we get because you're reinforcing it, right? So the
Yeah.
more anxious you feel, the more you must ask yourself to slow down. It's like in school, all of you learn the slow breathing method, right? So when you're starting to panic, you need to purposely breathe slowly, long and long breaths, okay? So
Okay.
that's one thing. You're aware now, you can work on it. The second thing I'd like to highlight, so that's more of the speed. In terms of content, you see, this question talks about most memorable outing. Yes. But it also talks about with your family.
Oh my
Correct.
god. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this is, if we are talking about topic or theme, this question is about family bonding, outing. Okay. It could be at a zoo, no problem. The setting is fine. But you could have involved your family more, right? Like what did your mom and dad do? How did they interact with you at the zoo? And why was this experience with them really memorable? So the interaction with the animals, great, but it's starting to sound like an outing where you go alone and you go and interact with animals. Do you understand? Okay. So we need to answer the question, lean more towards what's happening for your family. Is it fun for everybody? So when you look at all these sentence stems, you realize they do include the family. My mother and father also made me realize that the most precious moments, my family could spend more time like that. So it's more of a family question as well. But but I can tell that you do make an effort to elaborate. Okay, so that's not the issue. The issue would be more of answering the question more closely.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacinda. Okay, another person to respond to this. Focusing, don't forget to talk about family, okay? Can we unmute the next person? With your family. So show us the bonding, the joy. Who is the next person? Let me see. I've lost track.
Hello,
Hello. Who is this? Who is this? Let me see.
William.
William, right?
Yeah.
William, where are you from and how do you usually do for SVC?
I'm from West Spring Primary and I usually get like 23 or like 22 around there.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure. No problem. That's also a good score. Now, William, how would you respond to this question? What was the most memorable outing you have had with your family? Tell me about it.
Uh, on the most memorable outing I had with my family was when we went to the bird park together. That day,
Mhm.
I went with my parents to the bird park because it was after my before examinations and we decided to go to the bird park to act as a stress reliever. At the
Mhm.
bird park, me and my brother would run around bird, looking at other birds and probably even do some hands-on activity.
Mhm.
During the afternoon, my parents brought us to our food court to eat to eat our lunch.
Mhm.
After we ate our lunch, we decided to choose a place that we go in the bird park. We decided to vote to watch the bird paradise show, and it was awesome as we saw the birds glide in the air and soaring through the skies do things as they do things that normal birds can't do. I think that after that experience, I felt more happy that I can learn more about birds and how they do their daily activities every day.
Mm.
All in
Thank you.
all,
Yeah. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Please continue.
all in all, this was one of the most memorable outing I've ever had with my family. Thank you.
Thank you, William. So, William, you did go through the peer structure. You did share with us the setting, where, when, why do you go there? You shared with us some activities you did there. You shared with us the show you watched, and you did close your response properly. So that's good. Okay, so what about some room for improvement? Okay. In terms of language, because I noticed some things, so I'm going to share them with you. You mentioned that going to the bird paradise or the bird park was a stress reliever. Slightly awkward. Instead, you could say we went there to relieve stress. Okay, so that's one example. Another example, some students noted as well. This is a very common grammatical error. I still see it in compositions. You mentioned me and my brother. Of course, I understand you and your brother. But in terms of grammar, should be my brother and I. Okay, so make it a good habit, okay, to say my brother and I. Just now you mentioned that there were during the Bird Paradise show. I love that you use the word gliding through the air, soaring. Those are great words to use for birds. Very good. You mentioned that the birds could do things that other birds couldn't. So if you can remember or if you learn, you might use more precise vocabulary. Instead of do things, you could say perform tricks. Do you understand what I mean? So you remember earlier on when we look at the rubric and we say wide and appropriate vocabulary. So do things is not as strong as perform tricks. Do you understand what I mean now, students? Perform tricks, it's clearer. Okay, but let's say during the conversation, the word perform tricks doesn't come to your mind. It's okay. You just say they could do things that other birds couldn't. It's fine. I can still understand it. But we can learn as we practice. Okay? Thank you, William. William, understand? Any other questions, William?
No more.
Okay, thank you, William. Let's unmute our next student. What can schools do to help students appreciate nature and wildlife? So I'm not asking what governments can do. Schools, you go to school, your school has some program related to nature, science, wildlife, right? Conservation. So I think you can answer this question. Can we unmute the next person? Tanishka. Sounds familiar, Tanishka.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you speak last week?
No.
No? Your name looks familiar. Maybe you're very active in the chat. Okay, Tanishka, where are you
Yes.
from and how do you usually do for SBC?
I'm from Changkat Primary School,
Mm-hmm.
and usually I get more than 20 for SBC.
Okay, good. Let's hear your response to this prompt C question, okay? What can schools do to help students appreciate nature and wildlife?
I believe that schools can do several things to help students develop a greater appreciation for nature and wildlife, such as organizing programs such like field trips to the zoo, where children can do more hands-on activities, and it will be a memorable experience, helping them to understand about nature and learn new things about animals as well. One of
Mm-hmm.
the field trips and experiences that was very memorable to me was in P3. I went to the zoo where my, my favorite part was when we went to the reptile enclosure. It helped me learn about how reptiles molt and shed their skin, and I saw many reptiles there, which helped me greater understand how they look like. And it
Mm-hmm.
was more exciting than sitting in a classroom and um listening to a teacher talk. It helped me talk to my friends and clarify any doubts that I had. Some students may feel that outdoor activities are not enjoyable. However, I try to encourage them how to perform in many outdoor activities. My friend does not really like PE, as it is she gets sweaty, but when we went to the zoo, she felt uncomfortable and didn't really like the to meet the animals there, as she felt stressed. But I I encouraged her to bond with the animals, and she felt that learning outdoors with hands-on activities was better than sitting in a classroom. All in all, I think that schools can do many things to help students develop a greater appreciation for nature and wildlife.
Thank you, Tanishka. Mr. Sham is back with us. Thank you, Tanishka. So Tanishka, she did answer the question. Her opening line was grammatically. Ooh, okay. Her opening line was grammatically correct. She answered in complete sentences. She did share that field trips, hands-on activities. Okay, and then she went into personal experiences. Now, Tanishka, I appreciate that you did all these. Okay, but I have a feedback for you as well. You know, when you share with me the strategies, because this is a strategy question, right? What can schools do? So for each strategy you share, elaborate a bit more. Outdoor learning trips, why? What's the difference between outdoor learning and indoor and learning in the classroom? What's the difference between hands-on learning, hands-on, like touching plants, touching the skin of a reptile? What's the difference between that and seeing a picture in the textbook? Okay, so there could be a bit more elaboration here before you move on to your experiences. Though I acknowledge that within your experience, you did try to link it back to your points. Okay, I do notice that as well.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Shah, anything from
Bye.
you? Thank you,
I think in
Tanisha.
general, she had a very good voice. I
Yeah.
think she was very clear in where she was going. So like Mavis said, be very specific. In fact, she skipped a lot of the subjects in her sentence. So make clear who should organize. Just say science teachers, for example, or the form teacher could organize as part of post exams. Be a little bit more specific there so that we know whom you are actually saying should be taking the leading the school in enhancing your learning beyond classrooms. Yeah, but very, very clear signposting, and I think she'll still score very well.
Yeah. There was a small, but I think some students noticed as well about her friend disliking PE. So when I heard that at first, I'm thinking, oh, it might be going out of point, okay, but she brought it
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please don't. Some of you think that as long as you give any example, it is fine. No, it must be
Yeah.
relevant to the topic.
To
So
nature.
appreciating nature and wildlife, would all of you agree this is nearly a science thing? Science or
Yes.
language even, unless your teacher wants to enhance your composition writing for a topic like a discovery or an exciting adventure. But otherwise, it's largely science. So don't pull in things from another area because it may seem to the teacher that you didn't listen to the prompt carefully. And it would be dangerous if you don't come back, the teacher will bring you back to the topic. And it would be a reminder that you went off point.
But it's also possible that when you have said a lot, that the teacher might not bring you back because they've heard enough. So it's important that you, again, your destiny in your hands. Check yourself, okay? And answer the question. Okay, let's move on to practice 2. This is a very familiar scene at home, is it? What are some Mr. Sham just now earlier on in the first question, I got them to anticipate some questions based on the picture. So everybody share with Mr. Sham and me some questions you would set if you were an examiner. Please do not set, do you think it's happening in this picture? Okay, that's
Yes.
too
Try
literal.
going relevant, but a little bit more challenging because we don't want to be only practicing the rudimentary ones. You want to also be expecting tougher questions.
Okay, so share with Mr. Sham and me in the chat, okay? Is it important for family bonding rather than having the eyes glued to their screen? Very specific. They wouldn't ask that.
Yes.
Too specific. Too specific.
I
But
think
it's
they
good
might
try. Good
ask,
try.
do you think the two characters are doing the right thing? It's a little like mother tongue, they also ask them for their judgments. Do you think the characters are doing the right thing, or do you think their behavior should be encouraged? So one question I would ask to set it quite challenging is, should such behavior as shown in the picture be encouraged at home?
It's a
So
very
again, this
possible
means,
question.
yeah, but regardless, you need to have at least 2 to 3 sentences describing what you see in the picture before you go off to philosophize about why being addicted to the handphone is not a very good idea.
Yes, correct. This is actually a very possible question. This is in line with what came out last year as well. Okay, do you think it should be
Yes.
encouraged? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's right? Yeah. What are they feeling? They won't just ask, what do you think is making the boy smile? They might ask, how do you think they're feeling? And then you have to elaborate, why do you think he's smiling? Okay? Do you think the boy and is using too much screen time? Do you think It's very similar to what Mrs. Shang asked. Okay, so
Or
how do
is
you
this,
think that?
or it could be, look at this picture. Is this the best way to be spending time at home?
Possible? Yes. Do you think this is
Because
the
the
best?
topic is likely to be not just handphone, it is about family. Okay, so all of you must think the overarching theme will be family time, togetherness, meaningful ways of spending time. And it can also be about responsible behavior, politeness. I mean, being thoughtful.
Some students are giving me like prompt 3 kind of questions. Do you think children should be allowed to use handphones?
Yes, we practiced
Possible.
one accidentally just now. Should children be trusted to have possession of their phones all the time? Or what are the ways to encourage family bonding? That would be a third.
So it's both a family bonding and tech kind of question. So yeah,
Yes.
possible. Okay. Okay, what about prompt 2 kind of questions? Prompt 2 kind of questions. Prompt 2 kind of questions we have preference or experience. Preference or experience sort of questions. Anybody, please type it out so that Mr. Sham and
Do
I
you
could.
spend a lot of time on your phone?
Ah,
Do you spend a lot of time on your phone? Don't just say, yes, I spend a lot of time. How much time? Literally give a rundown, examples of sites you go to. Just now, one of them asked, Mrs. Sham used brain rot. I did not use brain rot. I used brain rot as an example of what students watch and mimic online. So there's a difference to it. Okay, and here is where you can recycle some of the things I shared. Or what do you do? What are the things you do on your phone? What do you use your phone for? All these are possible questions because it points to your personal use and it gives you a chance to share what you actually do on your phone. And what about those of you whose phones are locked away by your parents? Then you can share what your friends are doing on their phones, like what I did just now. So if you're a responsible user, what about your friends who are addicted to their phones? In fact, they get some kind of withdrawal symptoms once they have to put their phones away. They keep reaching into their pocket or they keep thinking about their game status once they are separated from phone. Is nomophobia, right? The anxiety of being separated from the phone.
okay, so yeah, they've given us some examples. Okay, so just now earlier on, Mr. Sham, for the elephant question, the students were like, I don't know what to think about when I look at a photo. So we did some labeling.
This is the thing. They keep saying they don't know what to think. So what
So
you
what is
should
this?
do is don't skip.
And
Okay, don't worry about what comes next. Look at what is there
yeah,
because all the clues are there. This is the
yeah.
problem. This phone is this photo is very tricky. It's not the boy who is glued to his phone, the parent as well. So what do you think is the moral of the story here? Can all of you put in the chat? What do you think this picture is actually reminding all parents, not just students or children, that parents must at home, remember I said at home, in school, parents should, what should they do? They should lead by example, isn't it? So these are the things that should be swimming in your head. Right? It would be ironic if the father says, boy, put your phone away. And the boy will be saying, you are on the phone as well, longer than I
Yeah.
have.
Okay.
Subshishka says technology have improved. Do you think technology can replace teachers one day? I don't think it's quite relevant here unless you have a classroom setting or a robot kind of thing. So here, I don't think education is directly referenced. It's more like home time, personal habits, use of phone and reliance on phone, as well as family ties.
Yeah. Okay, are they playing games? It is possible that they are playing an online game together, right? I know some families do that, okay? They have their own device and they are in the same game. They are battling each other. So that's also possible. So they're interacting in a different way. That's also possible. Okay, because we can't see their screens. So Mr. Sham is right to talk about how this it's also about family, about role modeling, the use of technology at home, and interacting like that. Actually, they are not really interacting. Okay, they are in the same space, but they are doing their own thing. Okay, they are not bonding. So let's take a look. We have about 10 minutes. We can go through all three. We get three students. First one, do you think the boy and the man in the photograph are enjoying themselves? Enjoying themselves. You realize the sentence stems here given out are shorter compared to the ones just now, okay? Because you are more familiar now. So let's have the first person. Not done yet, is it? Okay, I'll just show here for a bit more. Can we have a volunteer for the first question? Who is it? Who is it? Is it Alicia? Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, you're a bit soft. Can you project your voice a bit more? Hello?
Hi.
Okay, you need to go closer to your mic. Okay, Alicia, which school are you from and how do you usually do for SBC? Tell us.
I'm from Frontier Primary,
Mm-hmm.
and I usually score a 22.
Okay. Okay, I need you to speak louder, okay? Imagine I'm far, far away from you in at the other end of a room and you need to project
Okay.
your voice. Okay, Alicia. So this is the first prompt. Do you think the boy and the man in the photograph are enjoying themselves? Why or why not?
Yes, I think the boy and the man in the photograph are enjoying themselves because they're smiling and they are also
Oh, Alicia, we cannot hear you. You suddenly became really quiet.
oh,
Hmm, could be a problem with the microphone. Maybe we get another student to try this question first. And Alicia, if your microphone works later, you can try the next question, okay? Can we unmute another student first? Yeah, could be a microphone issue. Let's unmute another student.
I don't get
Zhao XY. Your name's so cool. What's your name?
Hello,
Hello?
my name is Xing Yan.
Xing Yan, is it?
Yes.
Okay, Xing Yan, where are you from? How do you usually do for SVC?
I don't get my marks on SPC, but I am from Peitong.
I see. You haven't gotten feedback for SBC, is it? Okay, never mind. You try this question. We'll give you feedback today, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Xing Yan, so do you think the man and the boy in the photograph are enjoying themselves? Why or why not?
Yes, they are. Yeah, I think they are enjoying themselves, but I think the man might be doing some work on his phone or like facing some problems, or he is just super engaged in his game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just
Mm-hmm.
super engaged and like whatever he's doing in his phone. They're
Mm-hmm.
probably very engaged in what they're doing. So if you want to get their attention, you probably need to physically touch them since they're playing on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it seems like the boy looks like the man in the picture, so I'm gonna assume it's father and son and not teacher. Uh, they they are both using phones, so I'm like thinking like if the mother walks in the room, the mother's just gonna be like, "Why you both using the phone? Do something." And then like they They'll probably be like very shocked about that.
What have we taught you about finishing your answer? How can you finish your answer or add to it?
No, sorry, I forgot what I was about to say. I paused. Sorry. They were. I think that if I was in their situation, I would need to stop immediately. Cause if someone else came into the room, they would either scold them or like startle them, which is not a good experience. Anyways,
Okay.
I
Yes?
think I think in all, if the father is like doing some work on his phone is understandable, but if you want to play games on your phone, why play them on your phone when you can play them on your computer? Because it is better for your eyes as it is a bigger screen and you get to see more graphics and more games. Because computer, you can download things on computer.
Okay. Thank you, Xingyan. Mr. Shum, would you like to share your feedback first?
Okay, first of all of you heard her response. I think some of them have been typing. First of all, you have to cut down use of conversational English and casual language. You don't use words like super, really, sort of. Okay, all these are quite vague.
That.
No, it's not whether you are good or not good. Remember, just now I taught all of you a way to not do that. So you mentioned games. What are some games you could have mentioned? I'm very sure Roblox, Valorant,
Roblox, Minecraft.
Brawl Stars. Yes. So you have to take the initiative to give examples. 2, you contradicted yourself 2 times. You said the father looked like he might be doing something like work, but then later you said he might be playing games. So
he might
if
be
you
very
feel
engaged in gaming.
yes, so listen. Then you had a good idea about mom coming in. So you have to present your things in proper sentences. You have to write. Can you jot down? You have to use sentence stems like, should the mother of the boy or the wife of this man walk in and see both her husband and child gaming and doing work on the phone instead of going to the dining table for dinner, she would get very mad. So you don't use rhetorical questions to answer.
No, I'm thinking
You understand?
I'm thinking actually they're not going to the dinner. I think that is like you imagine you're the mother and then you walk in and then you see your husband and
Yes, I know what you are saying, but you cannot use a rhetorical question. You have to say, if this were to happen, I am very sure the lady will be very angry and scold them. You know what I'm talking about? It is that your tone is too casual. So you cannot be talking to an examiner like you're talking to your friend. And later you went on to say that gaming on the computer is better. Now, we are not asking you which is a better option. It is whether you think the 2 people in this photograph are enjoying themselves. And also remember this, the whole point is not to encourage them to play on the computer instead, because it's better for the eyes or whatnot. You have to look at the P.E.E.R.S. Maybe you want to suggest what the father should take the lead in doing as an adult. He should stop his son from playing on the phone, and he himself should put away the phone to advise the son to either have his meal or to get back to revising his work. Then after that, you can end. So please remember, you really have to practice smoothing out the flow. because an examiner will not normally wait and to keep prompting you. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Xing. I think Mr. Sham has shared detailed feedback. So I've typed out some of the things here. When we have a question about whether they're enjoying themselves, this is actually the easiest kind of prompt one. Do you think they're enjoying themselves? How do you think they're feeling? Because you can see this on their faces, in the body language, right? So talk about facial expressions, body language, and if you want to extend it, so what Xing Yan did was fine. If the mother were to walk in, how would she react? Okay, and in the reflection, like Mr. Shaw mentioned again, what should the father do instead? What can he do instead to bond instead of just staring at their own screens individually? Okay, so that's prompt A. It is 9 p.m. I know it's 9 p.m. If you have to go, you may go. But I think we can spend another 10 minutes here. We want to hear two students share prompts B and C. Okay, so if you can stay for 10 minutes, please do. If not, you can watch the video or when you can take a look at the model when it's available. Okay, so can we have the next speaker? Do you prefer spending time on your phone or doing other activities with your family? Why? This question is about you. Please do not talk about your friends. Talk about yourself. Okay? Talk about yourself. I will share the model answers in Telegram and via a blast message by the end of the week. So do check your email inbox. Okay? If you're in a rush, yes, you can go. Can we unmute the next student, please? Alicia? Just now I heard you. There was a fan in the background. Is it better now? Alicia? Okay. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
Okay. I can hear you better now. I also feel like it's very windy in your background.
Sorry.
If you can avoid the fan blowing directly into your laptop, that
Okay,
would be great. Okay, well, I feel like there's like a hurricane coming.
Hi.
Okay, that's much better. Okay, Alicia. So, Alicia, for this question, it's a personal question, personal preference question. Do you prefer spending time on your phone or doing other activities with your family? Why?
Wait, can you repeat the answer again?
I'll repeat the question. It is on the screen. Here it is. Do you prefer spending time on your phone or doing other activities with your family?
I prefer spending time on my phone
Mm.
because there's a game on my phone that I really like,
Okay.
Roblox, and I can chat with my friends, and I
Mhm.
also can play other games inside of the game because there's a lot of games in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really play games with my family, so I prefer spending time on my phone.
Hmm. Okay, Miss Alicia, you have done this. You did answer the question. You shared your preference. Is there a particular time where you really, just a relevant experience, could be a particular time you were so engrossed in your game that you did not participate in a family activity? Or was there a particular time where your family did manage to convince you to spend time with them? Share with us a relevant experience.
There was one time that my family did convince me to go join activity. So we were going to go outside and go to the zoo. And then, but I didn't want to go out because I want to play my phone because I was in the middle of a game. And then, but my family bribed me and they said they'll buy something for me if I go out on an activity with them.
Hmm?
So I agreed with the bribery and I went out on the activity with them to the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So
and I
did you
had a lot of
enjoy
fun.
yourself?
Yes, I had a lot of fun. I fed animals and then I
Mhm.
also fed the goats. Yeah, the goats. And they were really cute. I also
Okay.
fed some rabbits.
Okay. So this experience is relevant. What did you realize from this experience? When you think about your response to me earlier on, right? You say you prefer using your phone than spending time with your family. Now that you think about this experience you've just shared, do you realize something? Do you learn something?
Yes, that spending time with your family is actually very fun, and you don't need to people to like convince you to bribe you to have fun, because actually, if you were to go on an activity with your family, it's much more fun than spending time on your phone, because your family can you can do other stuff with your family than rather spending time on your phone on one thing, and you can also do hands-on stuff with your family.
Mm. Okay. Thank you, Alicia. Alicia, you need to get rid of the habit of using the word stuff. Hands-on stuff. No, that's very casual. Okay, what Mr. Shah said earlier. No stuff, no gunner and all that. Okay, you did. I mean, with prompting, you were able to respond to my questions, but we tried to take initiative to do all these things. One thing you can put in your reflection or conclusion is, this being said, so yes, I agree that spending time with my family is quite fun. That being said, I think at the end of the day, I'll still choose using my phone because it's quite rare that my family wants to spend time together with me at the zoo. We are always very busy. So you can still conclude it that way. At the end of the day, you still choose your phone. Okay, so you concluded properly. Let me see what did I notice. Yeah. Don't play games with your family. You can provide more examples. I know Mr. Shams going to talk about this. You say Roblox, right? And you're so addicted to it, right? What kind of games are so much more appealing than spending time with family? That's one. The second thing is when you say you don't play games with your family, then what are your family members doing? Well, how does your family bond? You can share more with us. Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Shah?
Yep, that's there. Be more specific and also
Mm.
try to cut down the gaps, the pauses, and make it smoother. Yeah, so everyone
Okay.
listening in, you really need to memorize the P-E-E-R-S, the trees or the Oreo. Don't literally stop after a few sentences. Remember how to get on to giving examples, giving suggestions, homeschool or community, and then finish it well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
All right, the last prompt. Who is the lucky person? Yeah, bribing our kids to come out with us. Yes, it's not the first time I've heard it. Okay, I hope your parents don't have to bribe you to go out with them. Next person, who is it? Last person, one last student, Ruthra. Is it Ruthra? Ruthra. Hi, Ruthra.
Hi,
Hello, where are you from and how do you usually do for SBC?
I'm from CHIJ Our Lady Queen of Peace, and usually I get full marks for SPC.
Very good. I hope you maintain that performance. So for this, you are the last speaker for today, Ruthra. So share with us. Prompt C. Do you think children in Singapore spend too much time on their devices?
Yes, I think children in Singapore spend too much time on their devices. First, mobile phones have become a tool for communication and entertainment. Whether it's texting, scrolling through social media apps like TikTok and Instagram, or watching videos, many kids cannot seem to put their phones down. It's common to see people glued to their screens even during family dinners or while commuting on the MRT. Moreover, mobile phones are places where people can call each other from distant places. If my relative lives in another country, I do not necessarily need to take a plane to go there to meet them. I could just take a phone call. I could just take a phone call and call them and ask them how they are doing. Finally, I think that children in Singapore spend too much time on their devices. As once when I went to call my friend to play with her, she did not want to play with me because she wanted to spend time on her phone and play the iPad game that she was really engrossed to. All in all, I think children in Singapore spend too much time on their devices.
Thank you, Rusra. Rusra, you were speaking slightly quickly. You may slow down, slow down so that you can think and formulate your ideas and think of ways to expand on them, okay? Okay, you spoke, I think your opening line was very steady. You spoke about the correct, right and appropriate vocabulary, right? You talked about communication for entertainment. These are the right words to use, okay? You use the phrase glued to their screens. That's also a good phrase, okay? At some point you started to talk about people, but then I highlighted the word children. We're talking about children, people your age, right? What do you notice they do a lot of? Yes, so on public transport, they are glued to their screens. During family dinners, they're glued to their screen. So you had some good examples. But I think when it comes to experience and reflection, we could do a little bit more, especially for this topic. Reflection is one of the points where there's some room for you to expand. Because after you've seen all the children do all these, right? What would you recommend? Like, do you think this is correct? What could we do instead? So there's great potential under R. Okay? Mr. Sham, anything from you?
Yes, agree. I think that there were opportunities. Towards the end, she rushed too much. So don't sound like you want to end the conversation very quickly. Yes, and you did say if you have relatives. So why don't you just say, I have relatives in India or in countries like America. And I think the phone is a good way to call each other via WhatsApp or whichever app that you're using. Okay, you can add more to that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruthra. Okay, there's a few more questions. Yes, Kai was like, excuse me, I think it's already 9 p.m. You are right. It's 9:11 now. Okay, you're not wrong. If you have to leave, you may. Let me see, are there any burning questions? During June, if you're joining us for the June program, we are running a 6-hour oral workshop. So we are going to help you more in July, August, before your oral exams will also help you, okay? So do stay tuned. All right, I think yes, you can use metaphors in your answers, but the right metaphors, huh? Like in your composition, you must use the right one. Okay? All right, thank you, everybody. All of you have been really wonderful. What a wonderful batch of students. And thank you, Roy and Sweaty, for supporting us. We shall see all of you very soon, okay? In June, if you're a Mind Stretcher student, your parents would have received the email to sign up and meet us in June. All right, you can find out more from our website. Okay, see all of you soon. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Sham. Let's go support Mr. Sim and see how he's doing.
Yes, we actually have another bootcamp running for secondary school kids.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Roy.